I personally don't like to see guys take punishment, especially at the latter part of their career, because again, a piece of you is always left when you step out of that ring. Every time you go into the ring, you're not the same person that comes out the ring. I don't care who you are.
If Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather gets made, it does more than Terence Crawford Canelo on Netflix.
Oh, wow.
Clip that.
Pulled out a good, I don't know if he interviewed Floyd or it's just his imagination, but it's something that has people talking about, so it's going to be a great fight.
In the world of boxing, even the toughest veterans know that the sport can turn cruel in a single moment. Recently, Leonard Ellerbe delivered a serious warning directed at Floyd Mayweather Jr., and it revolves around the idea of stepping back into the ring with Manny Pacquiao. Ellerbe made it clear that boxing is never something to take lightly. One perfectly timed punch, one split-second mistake, and everything a fighter has built over decades can suddenly be at risk. Careers, health, and long-term well-being can all change in the blink of an eye. From his perspective, fighters who have already achieved greatness shouldn't feel pressured to keep proving themselves. When a champion's legacy is already secured, there's little reason to gamble it on dangerous matchups later in life. Ellerbe stressed that the later years of a boxing career should be about protecting what has already been earned. Instead of chasing another risky night under the lights, veterans should focus on safeguarding their finances, their health, and the future they worked so hard to build that in his eyes. Once a fighter has reached legendary status, the mission is complete. The belts, the victories, the recognition, it's all already there. At that point, life outside the ring should become the priority. His message was simple but powerful. When the legacy is already written, there's no need to rewrite it at the risk of everything. Sometimes the smartest move a fighter can make is knowing when to step away and enjoy the life they fought so hard to create.
If he feels as though the time is now to walk away, but I personally don't like to see guys take punishment, especially at the latter part of their career, because again, a piece of you is always left when you step out of that ring. Every time you go into the ring, you're not the same person that comes out the ring. I don't care who you are. And boxing is a brutal, brutal sport. And all it takes is, one punch here, and again, your whole life is completely changed. And the key is to get in this sport and to become successful, meaning fight the best guys that are out there, and then make a lot of money, and then be able to go out and do whatever it is you want to do. Obviously, with being in a position to take care of your family, that's what it's all about.
For the first time in a long while, someone from Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s own family has spoken publicly about the possibility of him stepping back into the ring. And the message was clear. His son is not in favor of a rematch with Manny Pacquiao. Although he didn't directly mention Pacquiao by name, the meaning behind his words was obvious. His comments carried a tone of genuine worry, suggesting that his concern isn't about competition or unfinished business, but about his father's safety and long-term health. From his point of view, Floyd has already achieved everything a fighter could dream of. Decades of dominance, massive fights, and an undefeated record have already cemented his place in boxing history. In his eyes, there's simply nothing left that needs to be proven. The idea of avoiding another clash isn't coming from doubt or fear, it's coming from care. As a son watching his father consider another fight, his focus is on protecting the man behind the legacy, not adding another chapter to it. Moments like this also reveal something fans often overlook. When legendary fighters retire, the people closest to them sometimes see things differently than the public does. While fans debate records, rivalries, and legacy, families often think about the physical toll, the risks, and the life that continues long after the final bell. In the end, his stance reflects a powerful truth in boxing. The fighter's loved ones frequently carry a heavier concern for their health and safety than for any additional glory inside the ring.
I don't know. You gotta ask him.
Hey, brother, would you like one question?
No.
Can I ask you one question? Hey, brother, can I ask one question?
Because everybody's older.
Can you put another shrimp on the...
Even years after their historic clash, the competitive fire still burns inside Manny Pacquiao. The boxing legend recently made it clear that he isn't backing down from any challenge, even if it means stepping back into the ring with Floyd Mayweather Jr. Pacquiao sent a straightforward message to the boxing world. If Mayweather truly wants to return and run it back, then all he needs to do is sign the contract. From Manny's perspective, there's no hesitation. He's ready, willing, and confident that he still has what it takes for Pacquiao. This isn't just about another payday or another headline. It's about unfinished business. The rivalry between the two icons has never completely faded, and the possibility of a second meeting still carries enormous intrigue for fans around the world. His words reflect the mentality that defined his entire career, a fearless competitor who has never shied away from the toughest challenges. Even now, Pacquiao speaks with the same belief that carried him through championship battles across multiple weight divisions. Recent appearances have also hinted that the legendary southpaw still possesses flashes of the speed and determination that made him one of boxing's most electrifying fighters. That lingering spark only strengthens his belief that another big fight is still within reach. Instead of waiting quietly on the sidelines, Pacquiao is taking the direct route. He's putting the challenge out in the open and daring Mayweather to respond. In Manny's eyes, the door is wide open. Now it's just a matter of whether the other legend decides to walk through it.
You guys get a rematch right here in this same building. Do you feel like that this version of you beats the version of Floyd Mayweather that exists today?
You know, it's hard to talk about the fighter who retired already. If he comes out and go sign the contract and we'll fight. I mean, let's fight again if he wants. I have no problem with that. I'm active now. I don't pick my opponent. I don't, I fight.
A measured and balanced opinion has now entered the conversation, coming from Mauricio Suleiman, the head of the World Boxing Council. Addressing the growing speculation around a potential rematch, Suleiman offered a diplomatic take on the situation involving Floyd Mayweather Jr. He began by recognizing Mayweather's place in boxing history, making it clear that the sport doesn't require him to step back into battle to validate his legacy. According to Suleiman, Mayweather has already accomplished more than enough during his career to secure his status as one of the sport's all-time greats. However, he also acknowledged a powerful force that often drives boxing's biggest events: the fans. If public demand continues to grow loud enough, the possibility of a rematch could become very real, regardless of whether it is necessary from a legacy standpoint. That Suleiman's comments highlight a truth about professional boxing. The sport is deeply influenced by audience interest and commercial appeal. When fans show overwhelming enthusiasm for a particular fight, it can quickly shift conversations from unlikely to inevitable. In this case, while Mayweather may not need another showdown to prove anything, the excitement surrounding a potential return could still push the idea forward. If the public continues to rally behind the matchup, the pressure and financial opportunity could eventually turn speculation into reality. For now, Suleiman's message remains balanced, respecting Mayweather's completed legacy while acknowledging that in boxing, fan demand has a way of bringing even the most unexpected fights to life.
A scenario where obviously Floyd, who's held the WBC titles many over his career, maybe gets tempted out of retirement for a Manny Pacquiao rematch.
What do you say?
I say he doesn't need to fight again, but I also would definitely come and watch. So I'm sort of like,
You'll come and watch. We have to see what happens Saturday, first of all. Of course, Floyd is legendary, just as Manny. There's no issue there. But you cannot skip. There's Barrios before, and Lance is a great journalist. I think he pulled out a good, I don't know if he interviewed Floyd or it's just his imagination, but it's something that has people talking about, so it's going to be a great...
In recent interviews and across his social media platforms, Manny Pacquiao has been sending a message that feels stronger and more direct than ever. The legendary fighter appears genuinely eager for the chance to step back into the ring with Floyd Mayweather Jr. Pacquiao has spoken with noticeable confidence about the idea of a rematch, expressing the belief that things could play out very differently the second time around. In his view, a new encounter would give him the opportunity to change the outcome and reshape the story between the two icons. Part of that belief seems to come from how he feels about his recent performances, particularly his showing against Mario Barrios. That performance appeared to reassure Pacquiao that he still possesses the speed, determination, and resilience that defined his prime years. But for Manny, this isn't just about testing himself again. There's a deeper motivation behind it. He carries the sense that there is still unfinished business left between him and Mayweather, a chapter that never fully closed. Pacquiao seems convinced that a second fight would give him the chance to correct the mistakes he believes cost him the first bout. In his mind, a rematch could reshape the narrative and add a powerful final chapter to his already historic career. But what's most noticeable is the change in his tone. Earlier conversations around the idea sounded hypothetical, almost like distant possibilities. Now, the message feels far more focused and determined, less speculation, and more of a clear challenge waiting to be answered.
Threat today?
Even here.
Oh my goodness. Tell me about that fight a little bit. Being in there with Floyd, Floyd being in there with you, like what was the experience like being there? In the ring fighting him finally.
It's good, but despite all those things, but then after the fight, right after the fight, I went to the hospital and got operated with my
Yeah, you got an
shoulder.
operation, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you posted a picture of
It really hurt.
Was he better or worse than you thought he was?
No, that's his style. Like I knew it. But the thing is, I'm expecting that I won the fight because he didn't throw a lot of punches. I throw a lot of punches. And I reviewed the compy box, like slow motion from first round to 12 rounds. Like how many punches get connected and how many punches of him he connected. You know, that's boxing.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining or making, just it happened that way.
Yeah.
It happened to me many times.
Did you want a rematch with Floyd?
I'm still active. It's up to him if he's going to fight.
You would even fight him today?
Even here.
Oh my goodness.
Even here.
Yeah, that fire never dies, man.
My right hand is
As speculation continues to swirl around a possible second clash, boxing analyst Chris Algieri has stepped in with a calm and balanced assessment of the situation. Rather than fueling hype, Algieri approached the topic with a measured outlook, explaining that while the rematch isn't officially on the table, it also can't be completely ruled out. According to Algieri, a major reason the conversation has regained momentum is the recent performance from Manny Pacquiao, particularly his showing against Mario Barrios. That performance reminded many fans that Pacquiao still carries flashes of the skill, speed, and determination that defined his legendary career. Algieri emphasized that the ongoing talk surrounding a second meeting with Floyd Mayweather Jr. isn't purely fantasy. While nothing has been officially arranged, the circumstances that could make such a fight happen are not out of reach. In his view, Pacquiao may actually be the key figure in determining whether the rematch becomes reality. If Manny continues to show strong conditioning, competitive drive, and a genuine willingness to return to the biggest stage, that energy alone could tempt Mayweather into considering one more showdown. Algieri's commentary adds a layer of credibility to the growing speculation. While he stops short of calling the fight inevitable, his perspective suggests that the pieces are at least moving into place. For many fans watching the situation unfold, that possibility alone is enough to keep the anticipation alive.
Listen, if Floyd's talking about coming back,
And that's what I wanted to touch on. Do you think that this now warrants Floyd Mayweather with his competitive spirit and attitude to come back and maybe try to one-up Manny Pacquiao by beating him again?
that wouldn't surprise me at all because I know how Floyd is when it comes to, seeing other people doing their thing. He's like, that's Chris. So I think that's a really good possibility of happening. But again, that's going to come down to Floyd and Manny. I think they're both in the driver's seat. Floyd's always in the driver's seat,
Even before Manny Pacquiao stepped into the ring with Mario Barrios, rumors were already circulating throughout the boxing community. Many insiders believed that if Pacquiao came out victorious, it could open the door to a long-discussed rematch with Floyd Mayweather Jr. The potential financial scale of that showdown has been a major part of the conversation. Industry projections have suggested that a second meeting between the two icons could generate more than $1 billion when global pay-per-view sales, sponsorships, and international broadcasting deals are factored in. Now that Pacquiao has completed the Barrios fight, the excitement has only intensified. Fans across the world have grown even louder in calling for the two legends to meet again inside the ring. The reasoning is simple. Very few matchups in boxing history carry the kind of global recognition that Pacquiao and Mayweather bring. Their rivalry, combined with their enormous fan bases, creates a level of interest that stretches far beyond traditional boxing audiences. Because of that, many believe a rematch wouldn't just be another major event. It could eclipse even the biggest recent super fights in both worldwide attention and financial impact. At this point, the momentum feels stronger than ever. With the history between these two champions and the massive commercial potential surrounding the fight, the idea of a second chapter continues to gain traction with every passing day.
So breaking news, Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao 2 is in talks to happen next if Pacquiao beats Mario Barrios. And Mayweather is expected to be ringside for Pacquiao's fight on Saturday night. And according to reports, the rematch could be the first ever fight to generate over $1 billion, and that would lure Mayweather out of retirement. Now, I definitely saw this coming. You know, Manny's coming out of retirement after 4 years, of course because he's passionate about the sport, and Barrios is a world champion, so it's a legacy fight. But there's bigger name opponents Manny can fight, and the biggest of them all is definitely Floyd Mayweather. I mean, their first fight generated 4.6 million pay-per-view buys, did over $600 million in revenue, including pay-per-views and ticket sales and sponsorships. And even though the fight didn't live up to expectations, it could still be a massive fight. You know, 2 to 3 million pay-per-views right now. Or you could put it on Netflix and hundreds of millions of people would watch it worldwide. So if Manny can pull off the upset against Mario Barrios and become WBC champion on Saturday, don't be shocked if these two's negotiations really start to heat up and then the fight gets made shortly after.
Not everyone in the boxing world is convinced that revisiting the rivalry is a good idea. Former world champion Shawn Porter has voiced a noticeably different opinion about the growing calls for another showdown between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao. Porter believes the story between the two icons already reached its conclusion when they fought in 2015. In his view, reopening that chapter years later may not add anything meaningful to the sport. He argues that a second meeting could feel more like a nostalgic attraction than a genuine competitive battle. While the names alone would generate massive attention, Porter questions whether the fight would truly represent the highest level of modern boxing. Another point he raises is the presence of younger fighters who are currently building their careers. According to Porter, these athletes have far more on the line and could deliver fresher, more competitive matchups for fans. From his perspective, boxing should focus on the future rather than constantly revisiting the past. The sport thrives when new rivalries and new stars take center stage. Ultimately, Porter's stance comes from respect. He believes both Mayweather and Pacquiao have already achieved legendary status, and their accomplishments should be celebrated as they are. For him, preserving those legacies is more important than placing the two legends back into another high-stakes spotlight that could risk diminishing what they've already built.
Listen, we've seen Manny on the end of bad decisions before. Timothy Bradley, excuse me. Jeff Horn fight, you know, and shout out to Tim. I know how you feel about that. What's up, family? All right. But this is what he's got to deal with. You can't go through a camp, do what you just did right there. We saw all the heart, everything that we've always seen from Manny, and this is the result. Shout out to Mario. He made the fight difficult just from being a big guy who is a better boxer than I realized, came to the ring with a true game plan to try to box and be patient, find openings and things of that nature. I don't think that Mario did enough to win. I don't think he did enough for a draw. I think that there was a lot more that he could have done. But the main thing is the style that he chose to box was actually a good style to use against Manny Pacquiao. They were saying that they were going to come right to the middle of the ring, and they did. But they came to the middle of the ring, and then they circled, they moved, they worked behind the jab. Not enough jabs, not enough of everything for Mario, you know, so I really don't agree with the draw. All that said, y'all know I got to say the rest. Y'all know I got to say the rest.
Well,
one more?
Should Manny fight younger guys still? Like, should he fight a Tank? Should he fight a Rolly? Or should he rematch Floyd?
I don't think y'all want to see him with Floyd. Do y'all? I don't know. I'm feeling like the world, because it's Manny Pacquiao, it makes sense for it to be Floyd Mayweather, but I don't know. I thought yesterday you were poking the bear.
Across social media and boxing forums, the conversation has exploded as fans dive back into the legendary careers of two icons, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather Jr. The possibility of a rematch has sparked passionate debates, with supporters on both sides analyzing every detail of their legacies. One of the biggest points fueling the discussion is Pacquiao's extraordinary accomplishment of capturing world titles across 8 different weight divisions. That historic milestone alone has many fans arguing that Manny's versatility and adaptability could give him an edge if the two were to meet again. Supporters are now trying to predict what might happen today by comparing several factors: career achievements, recent performances, and how their styles would match up at this stage. Every angle is being examined as fans attempt to imagine how a second encounter could unfold. Pacquiao's reputation for consistently facing elite competition also strengthens the argument among his followers. Throughout his career, he challenged top fighters in multiple divisions, building a resume that many consider one of the most daring in boxing history. Because of that track record, some fans believe Manny still has the mentality and capability to compete with anyone placed in front of him. Even a defensive mastermind like Mayweather. As the debate continues to grow louder online, one thing is clear. The rivalry between these two legends still captures the imagination of boxing fans around the world.
Is Floyd Mayweather greater than Manny Pacquiao? I always get this question. If you know me, you know my answer. Floyd is not greater than Pacquiao, and Pacquiao has him beat by a really good margin, in my opinion. Let's talk about it. If your argument is Floyd beat Pacquiao, throw it out the window. Every single boxer in history has lost damn near. That's like saying Buster Douglas is greater than Mike Tyson. If your argument is Manny lost in his career and Floyd didn't, I would disagree with that type of logic, but if that's the case, you got to put all the undefeated fighters at the top. Bud, Inoue, Usyk, Kazagi, all those guys should be in your top 5. I like Floyd. I like Floyd a little bit more than Manny. I'm not going to lie. Manny's a bit chaotic at times. I don't like that. I like sweet, smooth-looking boxing. But let's speak objectively here. If we're talking about in terms of career, whose career will be more harder to replicate? Is going to be Manny Pacquiao, and it's by a really good margin. Now, Floyd's most impressive feats, you look at him, he's a, 5 division champion. He's beaten 23 world champions. He's been in how many title fights? You know, Floyd has an amazing career. And I'm not saying that it can be done. It probably will never be done again, but I could see somebody doing that before they do what Manny did. And that's why I have Manny as the greatest boxer of all time, just not based off ability. When you look at the guys that Manny beat, the reason why he got the 2000s Fighter of the Decade over Floyd Mayweather, the reason why he got Fighter of the Year 3 years in a row, almost 4 years in a row. Yes, Manny lost. Manny fought more world champions than Floyd, though. We don't speak on that. Then you get into the 8 weight division. These are only the 8 he won titles in. Manny Pacquiao fought through, I want to say, 10 or 11 different weight divisions. If you want to speak on the lineal titles, I want to say he holds the most lineals of all time with like 5 or 6. Youngest lineal flyweight, oldest welterweight champion. It's insane. The youngest lineal fly is also the oldest welterweight champion. I like Floyd. Floyd's my number 2 all time. This isn't a diss to Floyd, but Manny, I believe objectively, is the greatest fighter above Ali, above Floyd, above Duran, above Leonard, above everybody. I think he has a career that is absolutely impossible to replicate. When Floyd was picking on guys like Andre Berto and Conor McGregor, Manny Pacquiao beat the undefeated young active champion and Keith Thurman to join the pound for pound at 40 years of age.
Adding to the growing buzz around Manny Pacquiao, NFL player Cam Binham chimed in with his admiration for the legendary boxer's recent form. For Binham, the focus isn't about who Pacquiao faces. It's about seeing him back in a ring, showcasing the skill and spirit that made him a global icon, that he highlighted Manny's energy, determination, and the passion he brings to every fight, pointing out how even a single strong performance can reignite excitement among fans. Binham's perspective underscores a broader truth. Sometimes it's not the narrative of revenge or legacy that draws the crowd, but the sheer presence of a fighter who still has the spark to thrill. Whether it's against Floyd Mayweather Jr. or a rising contender, Binham believes Manny deserves a stage to prove he still has what it takes. His commentary reflects how one fighter's performance can shift public appetite, reminding the world why Pacquiao remains one of boxing's most electrifying figures.
Break down the fight. I thought Manny won myself, but what did you see? How did you see the fight?
All right, so obviously I'm a Manny fan, but I'm going to try and keep it non-biased as possible. It was a great fight. It was a close fight. Both had moments, but I think overall Manny did more. I think his punches were more effective, more active. So even on top of that, just the ability for him to go the 12 rounds and do what he was able to do, but be more active every single round. I feel like Barrios picked it up the last few rounds, but I still don't believe that was enough. Manny started fast and he sustained pretty much, kind of let his foot off the gas towards the end, but I still thought, in my opinion, it was enough to win the fight to where I don't see how even the one judge got the decision towards Barrios.
Manny told me he thought he won 8-4, even if it's 7-5. But the draw was surprising. At least they didn't rob him. But
yeah.
Do you want to see a rematch? Do you see Mayweather? Do you want to see Rolly? I mean, Manny told me he likes the Rolly fight, I think.
I just want to see Manny. I want to see him in the ring. It doesn't matter who, because I know whoever he fights, it'll be an exciting fight. Obviously, the Floyd one will be big, and that'd, blow up the whole boxing world again. But I just think overall, I want to see Manny in the ring, and I think anybody who has signed a contract with Manny knows what they're going into, and isn't going to be one of those boring fights where they're running. It's going to be, combative, and they're going to be standing in the middle of the ring and fight. And I think, especially like what Manny was saying, he took 2 months for this fight. He has a little more. He's going to look even better. Regardless of the
4
win or
years
loss,
off, 46
exactly.
years
Regardless
old.
of the win
He
or
looked
loss,
amazing. He
I was
didn't
just
lose.
proud of the way that he went out there. Yeah, he didn't lose.
It's a draw.
And he fought really well. It was clean. There's nothing. It was just clean. It was a clean fight. But kudos to Barrios for keeping him.
The buzz around a potential second showdown between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao is reaching fever pitch. Among all the possible legacy matchups in boxing, insiders and fans alike see this one as having the strongest chance of actually happening, compared to other highly anticipated fights on the horizon. Like Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford, this clash carries far more history, a deeper rivalry, and an emotional weight that few bouts can match. It wouldn't just be another sporting event, it would be a global spectacle, a fight that transcends boxing itself. Part of what makes the story so compelling is the long, tangled history of negotiations. Fans and analysts frequently debate who first hesitated to make the original fight happen. Records suggest that Mayweather pulled out on 2 separate occasions, while Pacquiao delayed once. This back and forth has fueled endless speculation, adding layers of intrigue and debate to the narrative. For longtime followers, the drama of who avoided whom and why still resonates. People are divided, passionately defending their views on the first fight circumstances and the responsibility each fighter bore for delays. That unresolved tension is exactly what keeps calls for a rematch alive. In essence, the idea of a second fight represents more than competition. It's a chance for both legends to close the chapter, settle old scores, and provide fans with a definitive conclusion to one of boxing's most storied rivalries.
For running in their fight, which was meant to be the fight of the century and kind of flopped in most people's eyes. This is according to Boxing Kingdom. He said Floyd Mayweather was running for the whole 12 rounds and he won the fight. How is that even possible? You know, I feel sorry for the fans because the fight was boring. That's not what the fans expect from us. If I am a fan, of course, I want to see a good fight and not a fashion show. Now I get it, Manny Pacquiao lost the biggest fight of his career. He lost a fight that may have put him in the conversation for the best boxer of all time. And I want to know your opinions on whether Floyd Mayweather did run for the entirety of that fight. In my opinion though, Floyd Mayweather did not run in that fight. He fought tactically, he fought very, very clever. He counterpunched Manny Pacquiao. It wasn't like a Devin Haney performance where he was skating around the outside of the ring. You could see that there was bouts in that fight where Floyd Mayweather was setting up counter punches and landing combinations himself. I think Manny Pacquiao is just a little bit hurt that he lost the biggest fight of his career, really. But there's no excuses there. Manny Pacquiao could have adapted his game. Floyd Mayweather was too defensive. Manny Pacquiao could have overwhelmed him with barrages of punches. The problem is that Manny Pacquiao wasn't able to do that because Floyd Mayweather was too clever and his counter-punching was too good on the night that Manny Pacquiao would likely have been knocked out if he put more pressure on than he already did. But let me know your opinions on the Mayweather and Pacquiao fight. Did Floyd Mayweather run around for the entirety of the fight? Or was it just very, very poor planning and a poor game plan from Manny Pacquiao? Let me know in the comments. As always, a like, favourite, saving a share, all appreciated. And for more boxing content, hit the follow button.
The 2015 showdown between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao was hyped as the fight of the century, but for many fans, it fell short of expectations. Spectators had anticipated a dramatic, high-octane battle, yet what unfolded was largely a tactical, defensive display. The bout drew criticism from fans and analysts alike, leaving many feeling underwhelmed after years of anticipation. Legendary boxer Roy Jones Jr. went so far as to suggest that Mayweather shouldn't take too much pride in the victory. For viewers, the fight lacked the closure and excitement they had been promised, creating a sense of unfinished business between the two icons. This lingering dissatisfaction has fueled calls for a rematch. Many now see a second meeting not just as a financial opportunity, but as a chance for redemption, a chance to deliver the thrilling spectacle that fans originally hoped for. Beyond entertainment, a rematch would also allow both fighters to reshape how their rivalry is remembered. It's about restoring legacy, answering lingering questions, and rewriting the narrative of one of boxing's most celebrated and debated matchups.
I would not be able to take credit for beating Pacquiao after he got knocked out by Marquez because that's not the same Pacquiao. Of course. That's not the Pacquiao at the top of his game. Yeah, of course. But in society today, we'll call that person the best fighter ever. Of course. When that's not how that goes. Mm-hmm. That's not reality. But in the business world, it is, because look how much.
That wraps up today's video. Make sure to stay tuned for more updates, and we'll catch you next time.